What if I told you that your most persistent character flaw, you know the one, that thing you hate about yourself, your short temper, your inability to say no, your crippling procrastination, isn't a flaw at all? What if it's actually a fossil, a brilliant piece of survival software you programmed as a kid to get you through a tough time, and it's just been running in the background on autopilot ever since? Wait, what was that? The idea that your biggest weaknesses are actually your oldest, most loyal protectors in disguise? That's the bombshell idea from Dr. Gabor Maté, a man who has spent a lifetime studying trauma. And according to him, we've been asking the wrong question. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" the only question that actually matters is, "What happened to me?" Stay with me, because we're about to find out how to access the source code for your own brain.
The unpacking. All right, let's get into the guts of this. How exactly can something that feels as fundamentally you as your anxiety or your temper actually be a clever, elaborate hoax? A performance you've been putting on for so long you've forgotten you're even on stage. To get it, we have to completely blow up our definition of trauma. Most of us hear that word and we think of what psychologists call big T trauma: war, natural disasters, horrific abuse. And yes, that is absolutely trauma. But that's not the whole story, not even close. Mate's groundbreaking idea is that trauma isn't the event that happens to you. It's not the car crash. It's not the angry parent. The trauma is the wound you sustain internally. It is the disconnection from your true self that happens as a result of that event, in a desperate attempt to survive it. And here's the kicker. For a child, the list of things that can cause that disconnection is terrifyingly long and painfully normal. Think about the prime directive of a child's brain. It has two, and they are non-negotiable. Directive 1, attachment. I must stay connected to my caregivers at all costs, because without them, I literally die. My survival depends entirely on their acceptance and care. Directive 2, authenticity. I must feel and express my real emotions. When I'm sad, I need to cry. When I'm angry, I need to rage. This is how I learn who I am and how I tell the world what I need. Now, in a perfect world, these two directives work in harmony. The child cries and the parent comes to comfort them. The attachment is strengthened because of the authentic emotion. But we don't live in a perfect world. We live in this one. A world full of stressed, overworked, and often traumatized parents who are running their own outdated survival software. So what happens when a child's authentic emotion threatens the attachment? What happens when a little boy cries and is told, "Boys don't cry, stop being a baby"? Or a little girl gets angry and is told, "Don't you dare use that tone with me, go to your room"? In that moment, the child's brain is faced with an impossible choice, an existential crisis. If I show my real feelings, authenticity, I risk losing the love and connection I need to survive, attachment. And what does a brain built for survival do when faced with that choice? It makes a brutal, cold, and brilliant calculation. It chooses attachment every single time. It has to. And in that split second, the child learns, my anger is dangerous, it must be suppressed. My sadness is unacceptable, it must be hidden. My exuberance is annoying, I must be quiet. They disconnect from that part of themselves. They push it down into the basement of their psyche, lock the door, and throw away the key. And the personality trait they adopt to cover up that disconnection, that becomes the survival software. That becomes the flaw you now see in the mirror. Let's run the diagnostics on a few common models. You know the chronic people pleaser, the one who physically cannot say no? We look at them and think, oh, they're just so nice. No, That's a person who, as a child, learned that their own needs were a threat to the stability of the people around them. They became a human barometer, constantly scanning the emotional weather of the room, ready to do anything to prevent a storm. Their internal software screams, if I meet everyone else's needs first, they won't get angry, they won't leave me, and I will be safe. Saying yes isn't a choice, it's a deeply ingrained, automated defense program. Or how about the opposite? The person with the hair-trigger temper, the rageaholic. We see them as aggressive, out of control. But Maté would ask you to look deeper. Look at the frightened child who felt completely powerless, a child whose boundaries were constantly ignored or violated. For that child, rage was the only tool they had. It was the only thing that made people back off. It was the only way to feel a flicker of control in a world that offered none. So the brain built a fortress of anger. And now, as an adult, any perceived slight, any hint of being disrespected, triggers that same fortress protocol. The explosion isn't the problem. It's the desperate, automated solution to a feeling of profound vulnerability, which, as you can imagine, is a fantastic strategy for job interviews and first dates. And this brings us back to ADHD, or at least the symptoms we call that. The chronic tuning out, the inability to focus, the constant distraction. This isn't a brain that can't pay attention. This is a brain that, at a critical point in its development, learned it was safer not to. Imagine being a highly sensitive kid in a house filled with tension. An argument could break out at any moment. The emotional static is unbearable. What do? You can't leave, so your brilliant brain creates a safe haven. It disattaches, it daydreams, it flits from one thought to the next, never landing anywhere too long because landing in the present moment is too painful. That distraction becomes a sanctuary. The software code reads, attention equals danger, disattachment equals safety. Decades later, that software is still running in a quiet office, making it impossible to focus on a spreadsheet because the core programming is still active. So you see, people-pleasing, rage, chronic distraction, they aren't who you are. They are the artifacts of what you did to survive. They are the roles you took on. They are the ghosts in your machine. And the most insidious part of this whole hoax is that we spend our entire adult lives believing the ghost is us. We believe the marionette is the one choosing to dance. We build our entire identity around these coping mechanisms, defending them, polishing them, and driving them into every relationship and every job, completely oblivious to the fact that they are just the frayed, invisible strings of our past pulling us in directions we never consciously chose. The real tragedy isn't that this happened to us. The tragedy is that nobody ever told us we could stop the show. So if we're all just running these old glitchy programs, what now? Are we stuck? Is there a system reboot? Or do we just accept that we're puppets and hope the strings don't get too tangled? Well, that's the 5% rebellion we need to talk about next.
The so what? That's the question, isn't it? We've just established that for most of our lives, we are unwitting actors in a play we didn't write, directed by the frightened child version of ourselves. That our most stubborn flaws are actually just outdated, glitchy survival programs. It's a fascinating diagnosis, but it's also a deeply unsettling one. It can feel like a life sentence. Are we just doomed to be these biological marionettes, forever jerked around by the invisible strings of our past? Are we just damaged goods? No, absolutely not. And this, right here, is the so what. This is why this idea isn't just a neat psychological tidbit, it's a blueprint for a revolution, a quiet internal rebellion against your own automated mind. Because here's the most counterintuitive part of Maté's work. The way to get free isn't by fighting your programming. It's not about willpower.
It's not about shaming yourself or trying to crush your bad habits. That's like trying to fix a software bug by screaming at your laptop. It's pointless, exhausting, and frankly, a little pathetic. You don't fight the code, you debug it. The path to freedom, the path to getting your hands on that elusive 5% of genuine free will is through conscious, compassionate inquiry. I just call it the master key. The default human response to a behavior we dislike in ourselves is judgment. Ugh, I'm so lazy for procrastinating. I'm such a jerk for losing my temper. I'm so weak for not being able to say no. This voice, your inner critic, is the security guard of your trauma. Its only job is to beat you into submission so you never have to feel the original wound that created the behavior in the first place. Compassionate inquiry bypasses that guard entirely. The next time you catch yourself running that old, tired program, let's stick with procrastination. You've got a deadline, but you find yourself cleaning the grout in your shower with a toothbrush. The automatic response is panic and self-loathing. Instead, you pause, you turn inward and ask a different set of questions. Not, what is wrong with me, but with genuine scientific curiosity. What feeling am I avoiding right now by not doing this task? Sit with that. Maybe the answer is fear. Okay, fear of what? Fear of not doing it perfectly. Okay, go deeper. What happens if it's not perfect? Then people will see that I'm not as smart as they think I am. Deeper. And what would that mean? It would mean I'm a fraud, that I'm not good enough. Boom. There it is. The original wound, the core, unconscious belief. You're not procrastinating because you're lazy. You're procrastinating because a part of you is terrified that your work is a measure of your worth and failure would be catastrophic. The procrastination isn't the problem. It's the automated solution to protect you from the risk of that profound feeling of inadequacy. Once you see that, everything changes. You're not fighting laziness anymore. You're holding the hand of a scared part of yourself and saying, I see you, I get it. Thank you for trying to protect me, but I'm an adult now. My worth is not on the line with this spreadsheet. Suddenly, the compulsion to clean the grout doesn't have the same power. You've brought the unconscious into the light. You've debugged the code. Tool number 2 is using your body as a truth detector. Your conscious mind is a fantastic liar. It's a master storyteller, a spin doctor. It will rationalize any behavior. I yelled at my partner because I had a stressful day. I need this third glass of wine to relax. Your body, on the other hand, cannot lie. It is the physical archive of your emotional history. As Maté says, it's where trauma is stored. The practice here is shockingly simple. When you feel an emotion, especially a difficult one, ask yourself, where is this in my body? You get a passive-aggressive email from your boss. Before you fire back a defensive reply, pause. Check in. What do you feel? A tightness in your chest, a clenching in your gut. Your breath gets shallow. That's not just a bad mood. That is the physiological signature of fear. Your body is telling you, warning, authority figure is displeased. This feels like a threat to our survival. It's running a program from a time when the displeasure of an adult was a genuine threat. By simply noticing that physical sensation, not trying to change it, just acknowledging, there's that familiar tightness in my chest, you're creating a gap. You're building a bridge between your automated nervous system and your conscious mind. You're learning the language of your own body, and you realize it's been trying to talk to you to warn you about these old patterns for your entire life. It's the most honest friend you have. And that brings us to the final and most crucial tool. Tool number 3, the 2-second rebellion. This is it. This is the entire battleground for free will. It's not a grand philosophical debate. It's a moment of about 2 seconds. Neuroscientists have shown us the gap between a stimulus and a response. Something happens, you get cut off in traffic, and there is a tiny fractional moment before your automated programming kicks in and you lay on the horn, your heart rate spikes and you start screaming obscenities. Most of us live our entire lives inside that automated reaction. The 2 seconds might as well not exist. But with awareness, cultivated through inquiry and bodily truth detection, you can find that gap. You can learn to inhabit it. The car cuts you off. Stimulus. You feel the jolt of adrenaline, the heat rise in your neck. Bodily sensation. Your mind screams, "Idiot!" But right there, you pause. That's the rebellion. In that 2-second pause, you have a choice for the first time. You can see the string of rage being pulled. You can feel the automated program wanting to execute. And you can consciously decide, no, not this time. You take a deep breath, you relax your grip on the steering wheel, you let the other car go. You choose peace over righteousness. That tiny moment, that 2-second intervention is free will. It's the shortest, most profound revolution you can ever stage. It's the puppet seeing the strings and deciding for a moment to stop dancing. This isn't about achieving a permanent state of Zen. You will fail. You will forget. The old software is powerful. The rebellion is a moment-to-moment practice. It's a lifelong process of noticing, getting curious, and choosing over and over again to step into that 2-second gap and be free. It's realizing you are not the hoax. You are the one who is finally waking up to it.
So let's bring it all home. That whole tangled, messy, frustrating part of you that you've spent years trying to fix or hide, it turns out it was never broken. The bottom line is this: your most persistent flaws are not moral failures or personality defects. They are the elegant, fossilized artifacts of a survival strategy that once served you brilliantly. They are a monument to your own resilience. And the path to freedom isn't a battle to be won with sheer willpower. It's a mystery to be explored with compassionate curiosity. You don't need to fight yourself. You just need to understand yourself. You need to find that outdated source code and with kindness decide to decommission it. So here is the thought I want to leave you with, the one I want you to take with you into your day, your week, your next difficult conversation. Pick one. Pick that one automated reaction, that one pattern, that one flaw you wish you could erase. And the next time it shows up, I want you to do something radical. Don't fight it. Don't judge it. Don't indulge it. Just pause. Take a breath and ask it a simple question. What are you trying to protect me from? Treat it not as a demon to be exorcised, but as a frightened ghost that just needs to be seen. See what happens when you meet your oldest defense mechanism, not with resistance, but with recognition. That's it. That's the work. And on that note, this is where the conversation expands beyond just me talking into this microphone. I'm genuinely curious. Hearing this, what's one flaw in your own life that you're now starting to see in a completely new light? Drop it in the comments below. Let's recontextualize this stuff together. There's power in seeing we're all running on similar, glitchy, and ultimately outdated software. And of course, if this episode gave you one of those "wait, what" moments, if it blew your mind even a little bit, you know the drill. Hit like, subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive, and share this with one person you know who might be tired of dancing on someone else's strings, maybe even their own. You've been listening to Wait, What Was That? Until next time, keep questioning everything, especially yourself.